and I was trying to put my finger on it. What is this banter like? And I realized it's Gilmore Girls. It's just so witty. Who can talk like that all the time? Who can sustain that type of witty banter? And I felt the same way about Gilmore Girls. I both love and admire the witty banter and also feel like, geez, if I was like that, I would be absolutely exhausted all the time. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I am going to be telling you all my honest, unfiltered thoughts about Emily Henry's latest release, Book Lovers. This is a contemporary romance / rom-com, and I have seen it everywhere, as I'm sure you have as well. So we're following the character of Nora. She is a literary agent. She works a ton. Having money and being able to provide for her grown sister is incredibly important to her. Her grown sister has chosen a completely different path. She's married to an accountant, has 2 kids, and another on the way. They live in New York, one of the most expensive places to live, basically out of anywhere. The evergreen concern, I think that's the way Emily Henry writes it, for the sister and the sister's family is money. Nora and her sister grew up not having very much money. Their mom was a single parent and she passed away when Nora was somewhat young, and Nora has basically lived her life as her sister's mother. She has no success in her love life. In fact, she's been dumped many times, all by people who are like, ew, we don't want to live this workaholic life in the big city anymore. We've seen the light and fallen in love with someone on a ranch, someone in PEI. Whatever the case may be, because she's a literary agent, she loves books, she's aware that she is the evil side villain character. And so I think she has a little bit of self-loathing, which ends up being explored in the book. And I like how it was explored in the book, but she doesn't have to change who she is. She doesn't have to end up with kids. She doesn't have to end up with the choice to give up her career. What I liked about this is she doesn't give up her career, but she does realize that her dream job is actually being an editor as opposed to a literary agent, and she took on the role of literary agent specifically because she knew it would bring in more money and she had to support her sister. That aspect of Emily Henry's storyline in this book I did connect with it. I think the best thing about this book is the banter. This banter is top-notch. Reading it and I was trying to put my finger on it. What is this banter like? And I realized it's Gilmore Girls. And I've seen other people compare this book to Gilmore Girls plus The Hating Game. It didn't give me The Hating Game's vibes as much, I think, as it did the Gilmore Girls vibes. The witty banter between Nora and Charlie, between Nora and Libby, and between these characters and some of the other characters, like, it's just so witty. Who can talk like that all the time? Who can sustain that type of witty banter? And I felt the same way about Gilmore Girls. I both love and admire the witty banter and also feel like, geez, if I was like that, I would be absolutely exhausted all the time. So Nora is looking over at her pregnant sister, Libby. Libby's super pregnant, okay? Nora's observing in her own head, right? Like, oh, I haven't been as close with Libby. What's going on with Libby? Is Libby okay? And then Libby's like, Sissy, I'd like it if we could have this one last hurrah where we go to a small town and we do all these small town things. Okay, she says. Basically, this will be the trip to get close to my sister again, rekindle. So they end up in Sunshine Falls, which, is this a real place? Someone's gonna have to tell me, because Emily Henry did that thing that she does in Beach Read, where there's like the place, the setting of the book is also a setting of a book that the writers are writing about. And the writers are the main characters. And in this case, instead of actual writers, it is a literary agent and an editor. I kind of enjoy books about people in the publishing industry. Emily Henry's kind of found her pocket, which is like these rom-coms about people who are kind of bookish, whether they're a blog writer like People We Meet on Vacation, to rival writers like Beach Read, or literary agent and editor like this book. I am going to be putting out a video on this channel all about my favorite bookish romances. Romances where the main characters are involved in the book industry in some way, whether they're writers or editors, etc. That video will come out soon, and if you want to see it, please subscribe to my channel. Emily Henry has done something quite interesting with this book. She has managed to write a book that is a love letter to small town living and a love letter to the big city. So we're in this small town, Sunshine Falls, and we're discovering all the quirky wonderfulness of small town life. This is what I mean. It's a love letter to small town life, but we also have two characters, Charlie and Nora, who really miss life in the Big Apple. So it's a love letter to city life, and the fact that Emily Henry was able to achieve both those love letters in one publication, I think it's going to have mass appeal. I think it appealed to me because I have both aspects of both being a city lover and a smaller, I wouldn't say town, but a smaller city lover as well, like in one person. I grew up in the suburbs, and then I've lived a lot of my adult life in big cities. I think that was very smart of her, and I do expect that between the witty banter and the awareness of typical rom-com tropes and the way she pokes fun at them and sometimes subverts your expectations or sometimes gives you exactly what you're looking for, I think that that together is going to make this book super popular. When we get to the end of the year, people will be like, remember Book Lovers? Oh, that was so good. I've actually come across very few people who say they dislike Book Lovers. One of the criticisms I have about Book Lovers is concepts of motherhood that are explored in the book. I did not connect with those. So the fact that Libby is pregnant and leaves her kids, two kids, who she was, I guess, a stay-at-home mom, taking care of them, she leaves them to go on this little trip with her sister, which you find out is really just because she wants to spend time with her sister and also try to convince her to move to where she's gonna live or something like that. Like the big reveal is that she's not getting divorced, not running away from her life. She's actually trying to find a place to build a new life. Why she couldn't build a new life, save a small town business, etc., and bring her kids with her in some way, that really confused me. I can relate to the need to have a break from your children. I can relate to the need to put yourself first instead of always putting them first, but I just can't relate to what I see as leaving them for kind of a long period if they're used to you always being around. Just my opinion. I think in Libby's case, I didn't really get that she was even looking to Nora for that mothering. I think it was more Nora's issues that led her to constantly trying to parent her younger sister, and I felt like that was a part of the book where I felt like Nora would have been smart enough to realize that Libby needed to have independence from her and she needed to stop mothering her because her sister's a grown-ass woman. You know what I'm saying? Her sister is a mother of 2, almost 3 small children. So yeah, the concept of motherhood is a bit iffy for me. The sex in this book. I always find that Emily Henry books could be improved if they had more sex in them. I think that part of the reason there isn't more sex is because it appeals to more of a wider audience. So, I don't know. I'm pro more spice. What do you think? I'd be interested to know in the comments, if you read this book, did you think it was spicy enough for you? Did you want it to be spicier? One criticism I have of this book, and I had a very similar criticism of People Who Meet on Vacation, and that is the pervasive whiteness. This book, this is me turning the book, even though I listened to it, I'm turning the pages of my fictional book. This book is filled with whiteness, and I think that Emily Henry would really benefit from having some more representation in her books. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you agree? Should she have more representation or not? Does it matter? To me, it doesn't stop me from picking up her books, but it might eventually stop me if this problem keeps persisting across every single thing that she writes. I think that Emily Henry is trying to bring something new and fresh to the rom-com genre, so I feel like there needs to be some freshness in terms of the racial and ethnic backgrounds of the characters, and I'm not saying it has to be specifically one type of ethnic background or another, but just other than white. One thing I really liked about this book is how you slowly discover why the characters are the way they are. There's slow reveals about Nora's relationship with her mother and relationship with her sister when she was younger. There's also some really slow and insightful reveals about Charlie and how he discovered exactly who he was and how he learned about his parentage when he was younger. I felt like that part was well done. I would have been okay if it didn't end with a happily ever after. this might be controversial because I understand that an HEA, a happily ever after, is super important to people who are romance readers and a crucial part of the romance genre, despite the popularity of Nick Sparks and all his tragedies and Colleen Hoover and all of her tragedy porn that she writes. I think I would have been happy with them living apart. Maybe they meet other people, maybe they don't, but I think that could have evoked more feeling in me. I wanted to be angry at the author for keeping them apart. I kind of like wanted that experience, and I sort of was happy that they got to be together in the end, but then I was like deprived of that opportunity to like feel like, yeah, life doesn't always work out, and you know, my girl Nora and I were just making the best of things sometimes. Overall, I've got to say, I liked Book Lovers. Was it my top book? I'll go back to it and read it another time. No, but it is definitely better than People We Meet on Vacation. I might even go so far to say that it is better than Beach Reads. So it does get a big thumbs up from me. I am very interested to know what you, dear viewer, think of this book. Tell me in the comments below, and if you like what you see here and you want to see more, hit the like button and subscribe to see more. In the meantime, this is Ashley saying happy reading. I hope you have an excellent day. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye-bye!